exchange banks. As the name indicates, there is some kind of exchange that is happening between the customer and the bank. See, when you hear the word exchange, no, immediately you have to remember that that talks about foreign exchange. It talks about the foreign exchange transactions that are being done by banks for assisting its customers. So foreign exchange banks basically aim at facilitating the conversion of currency from one currency to another currency. Say, for example, if I am an exporter and if I want to make payment, maybe or if I have to receive my payment, and in case of an importer, if I have to make payment to another country, definitely that will be done in a foreign currency or the currency of the nation with whom I am transacting with. Sometimes it might be dollar, sometimes it might be euro, sometimes it could be pound or yen or anything, any currency of the nation with which I'm transacting. So in that case, imagine that I'm doing my business with a company in United States of America. So maybe I am asked to make the payment in dollars. Right, I had imported goods, maybe I'm asked to make the payment in dollars. So I need to convert Indian rupee into dollars for making my payments. Right. So banks, those banks or the department of bank which are being entrusted with the responsibility of exchange or foreign exchange of currency at a fixed rate is what we call as exchange banks. Or in fact, it can be said as it is the function of bank which help in with which assist in foreign exchange transactions, primarily by converting or by supplying different currencies under different denominations, and also maybe in some cases they act as a guarantor. Say, for example, I might be a small businessman in a country like in India, maybe in the state of Kerala. So I may not be a person who is very visible to another country, who's not so visible to the business organization which is located in a different country. So when I'm trying to enter into a transaction with that company which is located in a different country, it will be pretty difficult for me to enter into a trade. Right. In that case, banks can step in and help me in establishing a contract with that company. They act as a guarantor, guaranteeing my existence, guaranteeing my financial position, also guaranteeing my credit worthiness. So that's an important function that is being rendered by exchange banks when we are talking about no, the kind of transactions they do facilitating the business growth. So foreign exchange banks are primarily engaged in assisting the customers with respect to conversion of currency, with respect to doing business across the globe with another country, right? So you might have heard the word called exchange rate. It is a rate fixed by the bank on a daily basis when we convert one currency to another. Say, if I'm traveling to, imagine, I like to, I have not traveled to United States, but I'm planning, right? So I'm planning to travel to United States. Okay, so I know that once I reach there, Indian rupee will be of no use. So I need dollar with me to to have transactions, to buy things, or to take an accommodation when I'm in United States. So what I did is I have two options with me. Either I can go with some private companies who are engaged in money transfer, like Union Money, right? They are also authorized by the RBI, Reserve Bank of India, to undertake such transactions. Or I can approach a bank which is having a foreign exchange department. All major banks would be having that. So when I approach them, they will say, okay, we are going to exchange you. I asked for $1,000, right? So they say that, okay, Indian rupee would be converted into $1,000 at this rate, at this currency rate. Maybe today $1 is equal to 80 rupees. right? So likewise, they will fix the rate based on the demand and supply, which is prevailing in the market on that particular day. Right. So that is the main function, major function rendered by exchange banks. They facilitate foreign exchange transactions within the country. Right. So when you hear the word, you will remember, when you hear the word exchange, you will remember foreign exchange. In quotes, you will remember foreign exchange. So those banks separately, you don't, almost all the banks, their head office and the major branches would be having this function, would be having this department. They would be having a chest where they keep their money. Sometimes if they do not have that facility, they will assist in by taking the money from, if you say in advance that I want to have so much of dollar on this day, they will arrange it for the customers. So that's how they do the business. So in this case, we are talking about the function of bank facilitating foreign trade or foreign exchange, right? So that's the key word which you have to remember about function of exchange banks. Then the next is what we are talking about is savings bank. Savings bank, primarily all the commercial banks can be brought under that category. It is that category of bank which are primarily promoting saving habit. Their main function is encouraging people to save money by offering them a nominal return for their savings. Banks offer them a nominal return for the savings. So you might have heard about savings bank account, right? All that will come under that category. Apart from that, we have many other like post office savings bank. They are specifically, they cannot invest, they cannot accept no a deposit beyond minimal rate, right, which is fixed by RBI from time to time, but still they are actually promoting small savings, because when we consider the reachability of post office, they have better reachability in every nook and corner of the country. Right. Even in rural area, even if you do not have a bank, you will have a post office or a counter of post office. So taking into that aspect, banks have come up with giving that function, or delivering or delegating that function to post offices also. So you can also invest your money with some of your parents might be having investment deposits with post office. They also offer good return, right? So monthly you can pay maybe 500, 600 rupees as recurring, or you can also open an account with say post office as you go with the bank and then deposit your money. So that also will come under that. Small finance banks, they also access small minimal amount of savings from the public. Basically the function of bank, which is encouraging saving habit among the customers, can be brought under the category of savings bank. Okay, so you may not find all the commercial banks will qualify for this function. Apart from that, you have many other small financial institutions which come under the direct review of RBI, which are encouraging saving habits among public by offering them different products which give them maybe acceptable return, with less amount of risk, with less amount of losing money. So that is the function of savings bank. Then we have a special category, that is EXIM bank. When I'm talking about EXIM bank, it is export-import bank. Export-import banks are specifically designated for meeting the requirements of exporters and importers of our country. They look into the kind of financial assistance, the kind of guarantee, the kind of security needed by these customers who are engaged in the trading activity of either importing goods to our country or exporting goods from our country. So the function performed by EXIM Bank is primarily related with the exports and import function of our country. Right. So we were trying to, I'll stop with the next one, that is central bank. I had already introduced you to the RBI website. We know that Reserve Bank of India acts as the central bank of our country, the apex institution regulating the money market transactions. Now, some of you might have forgotten what is money market. See, in India, a financial market can be broadly categorized into money market and capital market. All short-term dealings are assumed to happen in a money market. See, if you ask me, where is your money market? Which is it, which is the location where I have to go and experience this money market? Right? It's not a location. When a financial transaction happens, it is assumed to be happening in a money market, right? So the regulator of money market, the primary regulator of money market is Reserve Bank of India. So definitely there would be some long-term assets also which are coming under the purview of RBI. For example, we were talking about industrial banks lending long-term loans to their customers. That also would be part of RBI's regulations. That also would be regulated by RBI from time to time by issuing various regulations and guidelines. Yes, of course. But primarily, when we look into the money market transactions, RBI would be the supreme authority in regulating that. Of course, RBI renders many other functions like controlling the money supply within the economy. See, when we see that the economy is, in the economy, the inflation rate is rising, then automatically the central bank will step in, do necessary or take necessary actions and try to curb the increasing trend or try to minimize the trend of rising inflation. Those measures which we are yet to learn, but apart from that, the central bank also controls the type of financial transactions and financial institutions operating within our India. Right? No financial institution can be quoted as free from the control of RBI. Even a private institution is under the purview of RBI's regulations. They are also issued, of course, when we were talking about the previous scenario, we used to say that chit funds or money lenders were outside from the control of Reserve Bank of India. But because of the recent transactions which has happened during 1990s, okay, not now, during 1990s and all, RBI took measures to bring these private players in the market also into the control of Reserve Bank of India to protect the interest of the customers, to protect the interest of the people. Maybe the people from the rural community who are not aware about the clutches of money lenders, right? Or maybe people who are from the urban area who might be cheated by these private chit funds. They might put all their money, all their retirement savings into this chit funds, and there are chances of being lost, right? So now the situation is different. RBI, the Reserve Bank of India, being the central bank of India, has brought in almost all the financial institutions within the country under its purview, under its direct control, under the umbrella of regulations and monetary guidelines, right? So that's the role of a central bank. So we had discussed with what is an exchange bank. When the word exchange comes, immediately you will remember about foreign exchange. Okay, and the next we were discussing about the function of banks encouraging saving habits among people, right? They offer different products, right? Different deposit products for encouraging saving habits among people, which can include savings account, recurring account, fixed deposits, right? Or many investment opportunities like mutual funds, insurance products. All these are done by banks to encourage savings among the public. And the particular nature of such savings, when we consider from a financial angle, is the risk exposure is comparatively minimal. When I compare with my investments in a capital market, the risk exposure to me when I'm investing my money in a bank is much lesser. Right? So that is the saving function being rendered by banks. Then we spoke about Export-Import Bank of our country, which will be primarily, the function is primarily related with the exports and import activities of our country. They would be looking into that aspect, the financial assistance, the kind of guarantee required. All these aspects will be taken care by the respective function, the so-called function of EXIM banks in our country. Then the last we discussed in our class was about central bank, which is, for our case, it is Reserve Bank of India, primarily looking into the regulating, or primarily looking into monitoring and control of money market within the country. Almost all the financial institutions in our country come under the direct control of Reserve Bank of India in one way or other. All public sector or scheduled banks directly, but the others are also, the private sector banks are also brought under the control of Reserve Bank of India. They also help in regulation of money supply in the market, also regulating other types of financial transactions within our country. So this is it